What's up guys, it's Will back again with another review. Today's review is the 1971 film A Clockwork Orange, as recommended to me by Mr. Tyler Headroom. As I said in a previous video or two before, I'm definitely willing to take requests from you guys on films you want to see me review. I mean, short of pornography, I'm pretty much willing to review any movies you guys want to see reviewed, regardless of how crazy or ridiculous it is. So comment on this video or any one of my other ones and leave a request for a movie you'd like to see me review, and I'll take on the review process of the most liked requests and obviously my personal favorites as well. I'll also link the winning requester's channel in the description of that review's upload. This will go to the first person who requests the movie though, because it's fairest that way, I think. So send me those requests. I'm really excited to see what you guys want to see me review. But anyway, now that we got that out of the way, let's get into A Clockwork Orange. So A Clockwork Orange is a 1971 dystopian crime film that was adapted from Anthony Burgess's 1962 novel of the same name. This film was directed by Stanley Kubrick, who you may know from his directorial work on The Full Metal Jacket and The Shining. I actually didn't even realize this at first because I was watching A Clockwork Orange the other night and my brother pointed out to me that Kubrick also directed The Shining, and I was like, oh shit. But anyway, this film almost entirely follows the journey of a young man in dystopian futuristic London that goes by the name Alex DeLarge. Alex, who is portrayed by the actor Malcolm Mcdowell, starts out as just a ridiculously reckless and crazy sociopath. He and his group of droogs, as he refers to them, simply go around wreaking havoc and terrorizing anyone that they come across. This includes things such as rape, which Alex refers to as the old in and out, and even violence where they usually just beat the shit out of people or steal their shit or both. Well, Alex's parents become more and more concerned with his behavior because he arrives back home at all times of the night and they have no idea where he works or even what he does. Little do they know, most of the time he's hanging out with his friends drinking Milk Plus, which is just basically milk with some sort of drugs mixed in. And all four of these guys wear masks and do a bunch of really delinquent shit. So eventually the fellow droogs become upset with their leader, Alex, because they want to be treated as equals and they want to take part in more financially rewarding crimes instead of just small scale ones. Well, after Alex beats the shit out of all of them to let off some steam and show these guys who's really in charge, they eventually all agree to head to this rich cat lady's house and rob her of some valuables and such. The other gang members wait outside where Alex sneaks in and accidentally kills the cat lady with a penis statue. Yes, you heard me correctly. A penis statue. I guess you could say phallic statue as Wikipedia has it, but I want to make this as crystal clear as I can for you. He indeed kills her with a penis statue. Either way, the police eventually show up, arrest Alex for murder, and he's sentenced to 14 years in prison. Alex desperately wants to get out of prison, so he agrees to undergo this experimental aversion therapy referred to as the Ludovico technique. Basically, they strap him down and pin his eyelids open and force him to watch violent and sexual imagery until he becomes so nauseated by it that he would never ever consider committing such acts ever again. The rest of the film is spent trying to present you with the story of Alex's rehabilitation and the methods used to do so, and whether or not you as the viewer think these methods are ethical and ultimately effective. Okay, so let me just say this now that we got the plot out of the way. This movie is weird as hell. I can't even imagine how people must have interpreted this in the 1970s because this was obviously a very experimental and confusing time for a lot of people. I mean, nowadays you see lots of killing and violence on screen, but you don't really see a lot of rape. The girl with the dragon tattoo, I think, is the only other time I've seen something like that. In this film, you see it happen like almost a couple times. I'm just thinking to myself like, god damn, this is a really dark and twisted movie. But I really think the film picked up tremendously once Alex gets arrested and begins to undergo the rehabilitation process. He is this film's main character and he just does a ton of stuff pretty much right from the start that's gonna make you hate him with the utmost passion. And when he ends up in prison and his parents sort of disown him and he undergoes this extremely traumatic Ludovico treatment, the whole time I'm just like, good, he deserves all of this. Because I didn't even mention that you're shown one specific scene where Alex and his droogs break into a man's house, beat him until he's paralyzed, and rape his wife right in front of him. I mean, that's just like the most messed up thing I may have ever seen in a movie, so if you can't handle this sort of imagery, this movie is definitely not for you. I do have to say though that I felt very good about Alex getting everything he deserved for his extremely immoral actions. He volunteers for the Ludovico treatment and these scientists basically make it so he gets physically sick anytime he encounters sex or violence in any way, shape, or form. But either way, when he is eventually released from prison, his parents want nothing to do with him because he's a murderer, people constantly beat the shit out of him, and he gets sick from it, and he just has a really crappy life. The movie does a really good job though of providing you the satisfaction of seeing justice served to Alex for the lives he's destroyed along the way. But there are a lot of really controversial themes that I think age really well here. I mean, I don't think we use this type of psychotherapy anymore, I don't think so anyway, but it really poses a question to you as the viewer as to whether you think these sort of violent criminals can be rehabilitated, and if so, can these extreme methods really be effective? Now, I also saw that the director Stanley Kubrick himself referred to this film as, quote, a social satire dealing with the question of whether behavioral psychology and psychological conditioning are dangerous new weapons for a totalitarian government to use to impose vast controls on its citizens and turn them into little more than robots. And even without reading this quote, I sort of arrived at the conclusion that that was what this film was trying to accomplish. I say this because when the medical professionals are attempting to sell the public on the effectiveness of the Ludovico treatment, they use Alex's supposed rehabilitation as a proof that this treatment really works. Well, during this process, a priest swoops in and says that they've basically stripped all Alex's humanity because he is no longer capable of making his own decisions regarding morality. He's simply a robot who's allergic to violence. And like I said, we probably don't use these sort of rehabilitation methods anymore, I hope not anyway, but it does get you thinking as to whether rehabilitation of murderers and rapists is even possible at all, and whether these people are even capable of making moral decisions. It also gets you thinking about government conspiracies and how they may want to control your mind, I guess. It really just gets you thinking on a deeper level, and that's what great films do best. I also want to say that Malcolm McDowell was absolutely fantastic in this film in the role of Alex. He acted it beautifully, and I can only imagine how difficult of a role this must have been for him. I mean, he has to slip into the shoes of a sadistic and really violent sociopath and then a somewhat rehabilitated sociopath. He also had to undergo the crazy process of the treatment scenes, which had to be both physically and mentally painful. I didn't realize how many movies he's been in since, but either way, he's really fantastic here. Also keep in mind that he narrates the story in Nadsat, which is a fictional language composed of Slavic, English, and Cockney rhyming elements. And that can get a tad annoying at times, but for the most part, it's okay, although it doesn't really add too much to the story for me. So overall, I thought this movie was pretty entertaining and it had some dark and interesting themes. I mean, it came out almost 50 years ago, and I think it actually ages pretty well. The acting is very good, the story was entertaining and thought-provoking, the film was shot very uniquely, and there were several controversial themes that still seem at least a little relevant in today's society. As for the cons, I would say the film did drag on a little bit at certain moments, and it probably could have been a little bit shorter as a whole. The graphic violence can be a bit much as well, and the language and narration can get to be a little annoying. Overall though, I'm going to give this movie an 8 out of 10 and recommend that you watch it wherever you can, as long as you can handle the extremely graphic violence. You can definitely find it via a lot of sources online though, not that I recommend that sort of thing. Wink. In summary though, this film had some scenes that were really difficult for me to watch, so proceed with caution is all I'll say. So have you guys ever seen A Clockwork Orange? What did you think of it? Let me know in the comments below. And if not, comment below and let me know whether this is your kind of movie or not. And don't forget to send me your requests in the comments of my videos so that I can review a movie you request and I can give your channel a shout out. That's all for now. This is WillFoxification signing off. See you in the next review.